Why are we talking about this? Why? Can it just be put off? Is it just political squabbling between Republicans and Democrats? They're always bickering. Is this what it's all about? Is there anything real here? Do we have a problem that's can't be avoided? Is it something, can't we just continue like we are? Why do we have to worry about more reduction of spending? Now that's the question. That's the question. Do we have a real crisis? Are we facing a threat to our economic well-being that could throw this country into another recession, maybe even a depression? Surely, hopefully not. A fiscal, financial crisis, is that possible? Is it just an attempt to gain political advantage, sound and fury signifying nothing? The answer is a resounding no. We are spending money we don't have in amounts dramatically greater than at any time in our history. When this fiscal year ends, September 30th, we will have spent $3.7 trillion and taken in only $2.2 trillion. 40 cents of every dollar we spend this year will be borrowed. Is it extreme to say we've got to change that course? That we can't continue it? Let me quote a few experts, not just Jeff Sessions, senator from Alabama. How about some people whose lives have been enmeshed in the debt of America? They seem to share the concerns, it seems to me, of the extremists. You know, the Tea Party people, they're extremists. Well, what do the experts say? How about Alan Greenspan, former chairman of the Federal Reserve? This is what he said. I think that the type of budget agreement that was put together by Alan Simpson and Erskine Bowles is a type of budget that will be passed by Congress. It doesn't look like that's so, unfortunately. He goes on to say, the only question is, will it be before or after the bond market crisis? Close quote. Is Alan Greenspan extreme? Bill Gross, who has the world's largest bond fund at Pacific Management, eliminated government-related debt from his flagship fund. They no longer have any United States Treasury bonds. This was what he wrote very recently. If the USA were a corporation, then it would probably have a negative net worth of $35 to $40 trillion. Once our, quote, assets were properly accounted for, no lender would lend to such a corporation. Is Bill Gross extreme? Erskine Bowles and Alan Simpson said, quote, we believe that if we do not take decisive action, our nation faces the most predictable economic crisis in its history. And Mr. Bowles, before the Budget Committee, March 8th, asked how and when that might happen by Senator Conrad, our chairman. Quote, the problem is going to happen. It is a problem we're going to have to face up to in maybe 2 years, maybe less, maybe a little more. Alan Simpson said, I think the crisis could come before 2 years. Secretary of Treasury Geithner, President Obama's Secretary of Treasury, when asked about the Reinhardt-Rogoff study, which said when debt reaches 90% of GDP, the economy of a nation slows down noticeably. They'll be testifying before the committee tomorrow, Rogoff and Reinhardt, I believe it's tomorrow. When asked about their analysis that 90%, when your debt equals 90% of your gross domestic product, your economy is slowed and then pulled down, and we're already at 95% heading to 100% by September 30th, Mr. Geithner said it was an excellent study. He didn't debunk it. He didn't say this is an extreme study. He said in some ways it understates the risk. because it is not just that countries that live with very high debt to GDP ratios are consigned to weaker growth, they're consigned to the damage that comes from periodic financial crises as well. Is Secretary Geithner extreme? Admiral Mullen, is he extreme? Senator Conrad, our Democratic chairman, is very concerned about the trajectory we are on. And in March 15th at the Budget Committee hearing, this is what he said, quote, "I believe our nation is in peril. We are hurtling toward a fiscal cliff. We are clearly on an unsustainable course," close quote. Pete Domenici, who was part of the Rivlin-Domenici Commission, Debt Commission, Senator of the Bowles-Simpson Commission, former chairman of the Budget Committee in the Senate, said, "I've never been more worried for my country." Are Senator Conrad and Senator Domenici extreme? I think not. So in my view, American leaders have no higher duty, no greater moral responsibility than to take all appropriate steps to protect the good people we serve from a clear and present danger, a danger that's been detailed to us with clarity and repetition by some of America's finest leaders. I thank the chair and will yield the floor.